All right, everyone. Good afternoon. Well, good evening, really. This is Paul Pennell with Urban Design Partners, representing copper builders on a zoning petition here along Lynnwood Drive. We are referring to Lynnwood Towns. It's City of Charlotte Zoning Petition 2022-091. I'm joined here today from a few representatives from copper builders and the architect FMK as well. Tim, would you like to just say hello to everybody?
Yeah, appreciate everybody joining us. My name is Tim Pratt. I'm president of Copper Builders. If you don't know of Copper Builders, we're a local home builder here in Charlotte. We've been building here in Charlotte for just about 10 years. Do a lot of infill townhome projects as well as single family homes. Wade Miller, our founder, is also on the call. And we appreciate you guys joining us.
All right, appreciate it. Russell, you want to say hi from FMK Architects?
Hi, my name is Russell DeVita, and this is Grayson Bullion with me. Yeah, FMK, we've been in business since 1991 and do lots of infill multifamily projects, and this is kind of right in our wheelhouse.
All right, appreciate it. And again, I'm Paul Pennell with Urban Design Partners. Our Urban Design Partners is a civil engineering land development consultation firm, land planners, landscape architects, and we've been asked to assist in providing, really helping with site planning and taking this project through the rezoning process with the City of Charlotte. So let's go ahead and jump right on in. Again, this is City of Charlotte Zoning Petition 2022-091. It is approximately 1.58 acres. What you're looking at now, you're probably all very familiar with the site, the location. This is an existing picture of the site going through the rezoning process today. Wanted to share this just so everyone can get their bearings. Before we get too deep into this, want to go ahead and go through some quick housekeeping exercises here. While we go through the presentation tonight, on the bottom of your screen, there should be a chat button that has a little dialogue icon. If you would like to click on that button and you can type a question during the presentation. At the end of the presentation, we'll jump in, take a look at any questions that may have been asked in the chat bar. We'll go through those first. And then after that, what we can do is in a best reasonable fashion possible, I guess, as organized as possible, we'll go through and unmute and ask questions and have a dialogue and answer any additional questions, go through some additional details that all of you may have tonight. All right. So again, just to provide everyone's bearings here, the site is approximately 1.58 acres. The tax parcel ID number for this particular parcel is 1511428. Directly adjacent Lynnwood Drive, just to the south. You're probably all familiar with some head-end parking that's directly adjacent this site. So let's jump into rezoning and what rezoning is and what zoning districts are. So we're going to jump into what this is today in the City of Charlotte. Zoning is a city's method of classifying land by use. It ensures land and spaces and their surroundings are utilized in a way that promotes development within a city and promotes it in a smart, reasonable fashion. So some of you may be familiar with rezoning, some of you may not. I would actually consider Charlotte a zoning or rezoning heavy city. Within the City of Charlotte, we've got multiple zoning districts ranging from R districts, which are your least intense zoning districts. R is for residential. The number that you're seeing here is indicative of the amount of residential units you can have per acre. So an R3 district is a residential detached zoning district with up to 3 residential units per acre. For example, what this site is zoned today, R17MF, it's residential, 17 units per acre, multifamily. So it is essentially an apartment or townhome zoned parcel today up to 17 units. And just going through the math, that equates to about 26 units are developable on this site today. What we're requesting under this particular zoning district is a UR2 zoning district, that's urban residential 2. And we're requesting 22 residential units. So by comparison, today it's 17 dwelling units per acre. We are requesting a UR2 district for up to 13.9 dwelling units per acre. So from a total residential density standpoint, we're bringing down the residential density that's allowed there today. But in the efforts of bringing a better product and some development conditions that will help create a better project for the city and the community. Taking a look at the zoning districts that are there today, that are present today, you can see the sites right in the middle of your screen. It's labeled sites, the blue box here. You can see the R17 MF district jumped ahead a slide, sorry. The R17 MF district that's in that area. You've got R5, you've got R22 MF, R8, and there's a little tiny pocket of NS right across the Little Sugar Creek Greenway there. NS is a neighborhood services. That is just a different type of mixed use district that's allowable within the city of Charlotte. Now that we've gone through the existing zoning district and the existing zoning types today, for the last few years, the city of Charlotte has been in the process of redoing its entire zoning program, its entire zoning ordinance. Essentially, what the city of Charlotte has been working on in years past is what has been referred to as the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. The Comprehensive Plan is a living document that provides a policy framework that will guide the city's decision-making and investment in both the near and long term. So what they have been working on the last few years is essentially what is the character of the city of Charlotte, what does it need to be, and providing a policy framework to help guide development into the next into the next 15 years, essentially. Coming from that, the Charlotte Unified Development Ordinance was developed, reviewed, and a few months ago approved by the City of Charlotte City Council. The UDO simplifies, consolidates, and updates the regulations that guide the Charlotte's development into a single document and aligns these standards from the comprehensive plan all into one document. Now, essentially what the UDO is it's a replacement for the City of Charlotte zoning ordinance. This will take effect on June 1st of 2023. So that is coming. That you probably all heard about that. I think the City of Charlotte Planning Department did a very good job of getting the information out there on what this was. It was in the news quite a bit for a few years. So June 1st is the official date in which that will be implemented. In conjunction with the City of Charlotte UDO, the City of Charlotte has also been developing a policy map. So the 2040 policy map, which is essentially identifying the new zoning districts within the City of Charlotte and where those zoning districts are appropriate. So in our next slide here, basically, City of Charlotte has fewer zoning districts than the previous list that we shared just a few slides ago. The residential districts, the dedicated residential districts, are Neighborhood 1, which is essentially your residential detached zoning district. So you're essentially one home, one residential unit. You can do duplexes within a single parcel, triplexes in some cases. And then on corner lots, you could potentially do a quad on corner lots. So even though it's a less intense residential zoning district, there are still some, we'll call them multifamily possibilities. The Neighborhood 2 district is essentially your multifamily district. So those are going to be your townhomes, your apartments, your stacked flats, your missing middle type of housing. Those are essentially the uses that will be captured within the Neighborhood 2 district. What you're looking at here is actually the adopted policy place type map. The light yellow are the Neighborhood 1 areas. The orange are your Neighborhood 2 areas. So those are your future apartment complexes, your future townhomes, condos, things of that nature. The green over here, you see are parks and preserves. I think they're planning ahead for potential changes in the stormwater ordinance, floodplains, et cetera. I don't think that really reflects any type of current plans the city of Charlotte has for that area. They're just looking 15 years into the future, trying to identify that these may be parks or preserve areas. I would encourage all of you, if you have any questions regarding this, to reach out to the City of Charlotte Planning Department, and they will be able to assist you. So within the Neighborhood 2 zoning district, basically the N2B zoning district would be intended for development of multifamily dwellings, including multifamily attached. Those would be, it's a fancy way of saying townhomes, essentially. And multifamily stacked units, that's a fancy way of saying apartments. And townhome dwellings, lower intensity residential dwellings, including single family, duplex, triplex, and quadruplex dwellings are permitted only as a component to a multifamily dwelling within this zoning district. And they're subject to standards that are a little bit more intense within the N1 district. That would be your N1E district. Basically, there are subcategories with the N1 and the N2 district, basically going from N1A to N1E. Sorry to be getting nerdy about this, just wanted to present all of this information out there. This is something I do every day, so I'd encourage you all to dig in and read the new UDO, become familiar with it if you'd like, or if you're having a really hard time getting to sleep at night, you're always welcome to jump in there and read it. I'm sure it'll do wonders if you're tired and can't get to sleep. We wanted to provide you some images of what potentially could be developed within an N2 district. Again, townhomes and apartments, duplexes. Institutional uses are also allowed within the N2 district. So here are just a few illustrative representations of what an N2 district could potentially be. Moving forward, so as is with all rezoning petitions, we have to take multiple design considerations to heart going through the entire process. So existing site conditions, that could be topography, that could be environmental, wetlands and streams. Luckily, there are no wetlands and streams on this site. Existing trees. Tree save is a component of site development in the city of Charlotte. So we have to take into account existing tree and canopy coverage. The City of Charlotte zoning ordinance is being considered today. However, because we're so close to when the UDO will go into effect, the City of Charlotte Planning Department and City Council are taking into account what is coming on June 1st, 23. So we have to really balance on a fence here and weigh both documents. Community input, we have had a couple of small group meetings leading up to our official community meeting today to provide some input from neighbors adjacent this site, to provide some guidance to get everything off onto the right, get it onto a right path, get it off on the right foot. And then community input that we received tonight, we're taking notes, we're recording this meeting. We will submit meeting notes from this meeting to the City of Charlotte, and we'll incorporate input that we get today into a site plan revision and submittal that will be coming in the coming week. The 2040 plan and policy mapping, of course, residential density, existing environmental features, pedestrian safety. This is a very walkable area, a very walkable community. We can speak about that here in just a few minutes. Vehicular traffic patterns, existing parking that's on site, of course, and green space and natural areas. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump on into the City of Charlotte site plan, or the City of Charlotte zoning petition site plan that we had submitted many months ago. Again, Charlotte is a rezoning heavy city. So City of Charlotte accepts 16 petitions per month. We are, I think, right now submitting for April of 2023. So this zoning petition was actually submitted many, many months ago. And now finally, we have gotten to a point where we can begin coordinating with neighbors, communicating with city staff and receiving feedback to begin revising and modifying this site plan that was submitted many months back. So the site plan that you're looking at today is the official zoning petition site plan. It includes really the design and configuration of the townhomes that are being proposed on site, the modifications to the on-street parking along Lynnwood Drive that would be made, the pedestrian sidewalk improvements that would be made directly adjacent Lynnwood Drive. And then also there's a lot of development conditions and text that's included on the site plan as well. And basically what these are doing is it is codifying conditional development standards that are included here, basically providing additional detail and clarity on how this site would be developed. These can be related to where tree save is located, architectural design standards, meaning what types of building materials are going to be used, stormwater standards, things of that nature. So we wanted to provide a site plan rendering, and this is slightly different than the plan that we just shared, the zoning plan. Again, we've had a couple of small group meetings with neighbors, and we've been able to incorporate some of their feedback into this plan. In the rear, you've got tree save areas. We have slid these townhome units away from this property line to provide some additional landscape screening along this parcel here. And then also we have been working with the City of Charlotte Department of Transportation on the existing parking along Lynnwood Drive. This has been an item of discussion. We are looking to maximize the amount of parking that we can have along Lynnwood Drive for public use. These are public parking spaces within a public right-of-way. Unfortunately, today they are 90-degree parking, and there is no policy with the City of Charlotte to allow for 90-degree parking spaces on a public road. However, what we can do is angled parking, and these are reverse angled parking spaces. We can get into this in more detail if anyone has any questions about them. But essentially what you do, if you're familiar with Plaza Midwood, you would back up into these angled parking spaces, much like a parallel parking space. You know, you pull up and you back into a parallel parking space. In this particular instance, you would back into an angled parking space. You would have the ability to have more parking, and also it's a much safer condition when you pull back into the flow of traffic instead of backing into traffic. If it was an angled parking space, being able to pull forward is just a safer condition. In addition, there would be an accessible parking space as well, a handicap accessible parking space that would also be included. All right. Russell, I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you guys. If you want to go ahead and speak to the architectural character that has been considered here, and also we'll jump into the elevation that you guys prepared as well. Just let me know when you'd like for me to switch slides.
Sure. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, so this is a precedent board that you're seeing here. This is something we usually like to start a project out with. It helps us communicate with the client just on kind of the character that we're trying to accomplish with the project. So as you can see in these images, we're considering materials. You know, a lot of the white materials you see here is masonry brick painted, and then you're seeing a lot of large windows. You know, a lot of different articulation with the balconies and bay windows and entry elements and things like that. So, you know, just trying to kind of create a cohesive look and feel for the project. I think Grayson coined the term the modern Tudor cottage kind of style. But so that's kind of what we're looking at. And like I said, a lot of these materials and these details are found throughout the neighborhood. You can go to the next slide, Paul. So what we're looking at here is a conceptual elevation. This would be the elevation on Lynnwood, the building that faces those angled spaces that Paul was showing in the site plan. So this is a 5-unit building. So it's 3 stories. Each unit's 3 stories tall. You can see on the far right, it's 45 feet from average grade to the top of the roof is what we're showing right now. You can kind of see there's that hill that is currently there off Lynnwood is kind of reflected with the stairs that get taller and taller as you go to the right. So again, the white is, we're imagining that to be brick. And then the darker color would be siding and trim. As you can see, we're creating kind of an entry portal at each unit and kind of varying the openings there. Large windows and doors, high quality. And we're looking at having a large cantilevered terrace on the second floor. So it recesses into the unit, but also cantilevers out. And we're kind of playing with that. One unit has a copper, shed roof, and then the unit next to it has a ground supported balcony with a bay above it. So just kind of playing with the different elements and creating a varying, just trying to break down the scale as you walk along the project, both horizontally and vertically, trying to create different sight lines. So yeah, that's kind of the overall concept elevation at this point.
Tim or Wade, would you like to share any additional comments on the architecture?
I think they hit it. I mean, I think that, the goal here is to, try to come in as far as the neighborhood goes and, add to the neighborhood and its architecture and its style by mixing in some different elevations and, not create a cookie cutter environment, something that's unique to the area and that I think the whole neighborhood and the community can be proud of.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump on to the last slide here that basically shows the dates and the process moving forward for this zoning petition. So moving forward, we are going to be taking a look at our community meeting. Of course, is tonight. That's November 29th. We're anticipating our public hearing being January 18th or February 20th, somewhere in there. Essentially, what happens is the city of Charlotte is currently reviewing and will be in the coming days providing feedback and comments related to the site plan that we submitted many months back. We will revise the site plan and submit, and depending on whether or not the city of Charlotte deems the zoning petition essentially worthy of progressing through the zoning petition process, then we have the ability to go and present in front of city council. We make a presentation. The public has the opportunity to show up in favor or against at this petition, at this public hearing. We certainly hope that we're hoping for everyone to be in favor of this zoning petition. But that date we anticipate would be January 18th or February 20th. Next, after that, it proceeds from the public hearing to zoning committee. Zoning committee is a board of appointed, we'll call them zoning experts, members of the public. These appointed members have been appointed by city council. We anticipate going to zoning committee on January 31st or March 7th. Essentially, the zoning committee will review the petition and provide a vote of recommendation back to city council. And it would be a recommendation for approval or a recommendation for denial. Then on February 20th or March 20th, that is when the zoning petition would go back in front of the City of Charlotte City Council for a vote and decision. Once a decision is made, we hope, of course, that this is an approval. Then the project would go to a land development permit review process where we basically take construction documents and submit them to City of Charlotte Land Development, where the construction documents are then reviewed and approved. That takes quite a while as well. We would anticipate after a zoning approval, an additional 7 to 8 months would be necessary to obtain land development permit approvals. So potentially, Tim, Wade, I guess construction could potentially commence, gosh, maybe right about now, next year. I guess that's
best case scenario. Probably best case scenario. Yep. You're probably looking, in all honesty, by the time you get civil plans approved and development finalized, you're probably looking at Q1 of 2024 before anything vertical is happening.
All right, sounds good. I think that's the
Long
first time
process.
a land development consultant overshot, and you gave me a little bit more time here, Tim. Thank you. I appreciate that. We are recording this, I'll remind you.
We were talking to the neighbors, not you.
All right,
Next
guys.
week.
Well, that is our presentation tonight. I've got one. Let's see. I've got a couple questions here. Let me jump back to the site plan. All right, this may be a good starting point. So the first question here is from Rebecca Ferguson. Actually, the first two questions here are from Rebecca. Will the existing alleyway remain? So no, the existing alleyway will be reconfigured. It will go away. And then, as you can see here, a two-way private alley with two driveway connection points to Lynnwood Drive would then serve the development internally. So the existing alley would not remain, and the vehicular access would be reconfigured. We also have a question here related to square footage of the units and also the average price point. Tim, I'm gonna lean on you for this one.
Based off of what we showed today, the intent is these will be higher priced units, single on the townhome side, ranging somewhere between probably 2,800 and 3,200 square feet. Obviously, we're in concept right now, and really can't dial in on what the average price points or the sizes are going to be, but we anticipate them to be somewhere in that 2,800 to 3,200 square foot size wise.
All right, thank you. Let's see, Ann Carter is asking for rear elevations. May we see them? I don't know if we've gotten that far, Russell. Have you guys considered rear elevations yet?
No, not at this point, Paul.
Okay. And I think what we can probably do is continue to develop these elevations, and I think that's something that we could certainly have prepared for the public meeting in January or February. So I would anticipate this initial elevation concept to get developed out further, and we would have that prepared for that meeting. All right.
Quick question.
Yes.
I saw the current height is 45 feet. What is the maximum allowable height for these? Is that subject to change?
So within the R districts, the maximum allowable height within, and I don't want to get into too much detail on the zoning ordinance. So the zoning ordinance for an R district is a maximum height of 40 feet. In a multifamily district, I believe the R17 MF is up to 45 feet. And the way that gets measured, I believe, within these districts is actually to the midpoint of the roof. So in the elevation that was provided, let me jump forward here to it. In the elevation that was provided, it's actually showing the maximum height to the very top of the roof. And I think the way the zoning ordinance actually it basically reads is it's average grade plane to the midpoint of the roof. So while we're showing a maximum height at the top of the roof, it's actually 40 feet or 45 feet, depending on which district you're considering.
Okay. And then just piggybacking on Rebecca's earlier comment about that kind of access road alleyway.
Yeah.
I assume there's not going to be, so it continues down the street all the way down to Westfield. That's going to remain, but there's not going to be any access from this development to the.
That is correct. This alley will end, and these are the only two connection points to access this development to Lynnwood. Yes, none of these are intended to stub or continue on to other parcels. That's correct.
Okay. And I guess while I'm at it, one more, as it relates to draining, obviously you pointed out the grade and the elevations, we all deal with it. Everything kind of runs downhill. How should we think about water kind of runoff? And I know some of the sewage lines kind of run down, I think the bottom of Westfield where that alley hits, but how should we think about just the impact of water and what's going to be done to
So we haven't done any sort of impervious versus pervious area analyses based on what's there today and what will be there tomorrow. But currently right now, the way we're planning this is for there to be less impervious area than there is today. And that water would flow to Lynnwood and then to Little Sugar Creek Greenway. So that's essentially what we're anticipating. There is no requirement in the city of Charlotte right now for there to be a stormwater detention basin or a stormwater quality measure to be on site. So it's essentially going to follow existing drainage patterns today.
Appreciate it.
Of course. Oh, here we go. We've got another question here. Is the parking for each unit below grade? No, it's on grade. Each unit has a 2-car garage. So within the UR2 zoning district, the minimum required parking on site is 1 parking space per residential unit. So what's actually required here as a minimum is 22 parking spaces, and what's being provided are 44 units, 44 parking spaces with each garage, a couple of parking spaces located at the mail kiosk, and then there are some public spaces along Lynnwood Drive. Now, those are accessible to all members of the public. So parking in the city of Charlotte right now, when you take rezoning petitions through, is a difficult conversation sometimes because you don't want to provide too much parking. City of Charlotte is trying to move away from a parking and vehicular centric city. So we're trying to basically find a happy medium. Does anyone have any additional questions? I don't have any more that are in the chat. Wondering if anyone may have any other questions that they would like to unmute and ask tonight. All right, well, we're at 6:05. Just to provide a little bit of feedback on what's next. So we are, again, mentioned that we are recording this meeting tonight. We will be posting this recording and this presentation to our website. It's going to go to urbandesignpartners.com. Again, urbandesignpartners.com. Click on the rezoning tab. In the coming days, this recording will be posted online. The presentation that you're looking at will be posted online, and you can even download it if you'd like. Also, I'd like to bring your attention to the City of Charlotte's rezoning page. That is rezoning.org. All zoning documents, applications, site plans, site plan revisions, tonight's meeting notes, and also the attendees list, the meeting notification list, will all be posted to the City of Charlotte's website, again, rezoning.org. You'll click on this year, it's 2022, and this is, as a reminder, Zoning Petition 2022-091. Just click on that page and you'll be able to view all document filings related to this petition. So with that, I would just like to thank everyone here that joined us tonight for this community meeting. Definitely really appreciate everyone taking some time out of your evening and joining us tonight to have a discussion about this petition. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful evening.
Appreciate it, everybody. Thank you.